Hannah Horne, Vice President of Public Policy and Programs for the Hilton-Bluffton Chamber of Commerce, joins us. Hannah, the Recovery Act is finally a done deal. There is plenty inside of it, more than just the personal checks headed our way, isn't there?
Yeah, that's just one component of it. Bob, this piece of legislation is bigger than any of the ones that we've talked about, okay? So I don't want to filibuster here, but I do need to tell
Go for it.
Not only our residents, but also those in business what exactly this contains. So you know about the stimulus checks, of course. A lot of people that headlines, that's the kind of the sexy sizzle part of this bill for individuals. But there's a lot in there that expands, extends, and enhances what we've already had in past stimulus bills. So let me start with PPP. Those are those forgivable loans that businesses have been able to take part in. Now, one important thing that I want people to know about PPP is that it is set to expire or sunset at the end of March. So if you're a business that hasn't taken a second draw or even a first draw, consider going to your bank. Many banks already have so many applications in the pipeline, they're not accepting anymore, so you may have to go to a fintech. I'll be happy to talk you through all the details of that, but again, that deadline is coming up. Another important program, Bob, I want to just remind our businesses about is that the employee retention tax credits. If this is the first time you're hearing about them, then I haven't done my job very well, because these are just robust tax credits that are applied to the payroll taxes that you pay at the end of the quarters, okay? So every business pays quarterly payroll taxes, and as you remit that, you can actually apply for a tax credit up to $7,000 per employee. Do the math on that, okay?
Yeah.
But here's the qualification on that. You have to have experienced a 20% loss in revenues in that same quarter the year before. So first quarter of 2021, you have to look back to 2020 and exhibit that 20% loss of revenues. Many businesses, you may want to use this as your PPP time because you can take both. And then next quarter may be when COVID really hit your business and you can exhibit that 20%. All right, so you know about those programs.
Yes.
I really want to tell you about this restaurant revitalization program, okay? Because this is going to be huge for restaurants, okay? And some people are asking, well, is it bars, caterers? Basically, yes. It is any institution, business, place of business where the intention is to eat, okay? You will be eligible for this, okay? What they're going to do, and this is a grant. This is not a loan, okay? They're going to look at your 2019 gross revenues, compare it to your 2020 gross revenues, and whatever the delta is in that is how much the grant's going to be. You got to take out any PPP, though, that you got last year, okay? That'll count towards revenue in 2020. So that's really going to go a long way in helping our restaurants recover. And that's what we wanted, Bob. We wanted to see that targeted legislation to the hardest hit businesses.
How do you file for that? How do you go, what's the process?
Yeah, a great question. So for our restaurants, right now, the Restaurant Act, you know that PPP is through your bank.
Right.
The employee retention tax credit is going to be with your payroll taxes, all of that, your payroll company or your bookkeeper, that actually is going through the IRS, wherever you file your form. It's the 900, 941, whatever. The Restaurant Act, okay? This is going to be administered through the SBA, okay? So totally different. The SBA, really, it's a moneymaker. It's a loan company. It's a loan program of the government. So they're not really good at grants. They don't have a lot of programs stood up. So they're writing it out right now. What a restaurant can do right now is a couple of things. First of all, you're going to need what's called a DUNS number, D-U-N-S, and you can Google that and you can find how to apply. It takes about 2 days to get one. You're going to need that in your application. We know that for sure, even though we haven't seen the application. The second thing that you're going to need is what's called a SAM number, all right? And you can Google that as well, or just go to sam.gov. Get that number as well. That's basically a government contracting number that is going to put you ahead of the game, and that takes about 2 weeks to get. So get your DUNS, get your SAM number, and then start putting together your tax records, any profit and loss for your restaurant, and get ready for the SBA to roll that out. Those smaller restaurants are going to get in on the first wave of funding for this, and they're set aside buckets just for the smallest of restaurants. So, and if you have 10 or more units of restaurants, 10 or 20, forgive me, the details of this are still coming out, but we'll get full guidance and full application on this here in the coming days and weeks. And a really good resource for that is Restaurants Act, so restaurants plural, restaurantsact.com has great one-pagers.
That's fantastic. All right, we've got folks headed in the right direction, and by the way, filibusters are always allowed here. Thanks so much, Hannah. Hannah Horne of the Hilton-Bluffton Chamber of Commerce.